Over the last 2 years, we've got an absolute flood of reporting showing the deep corruption on the Supreme Court, especially in regards to this man, Clarence Thomas, who apparently spent the last couple of decades just taking millions of dollars from billionaires with business before the court and making it obvious to those with the most power and influence and wealth in our society that the justices are for sale and you can just court them and befriend them and gift them and you'll get what you want. Now, it's not just him. Of course, we also know that Justice Alito is apparently really tied ideologically to violent radical groups that won't accept the results of any election that Donald Trump doesn't win. And so there's concerns about multiple justices. And this led to calls for reform, which we did technically get. We got a code of ethics. And I say technically because it ain't worth a damn. It's voluntary, there's no enforcement mechanism. It won't stop any of this from going on. Well, now we know a little bit more about why that's all we ended up with. And we know that thanks to the reporting of the New York Times. They interviewed people from both inside and outside the court, liberals as well as conservatives, about the conversations that were going on that led to that ethics report. And here's what was revealed. Clarence Thomas, whose decision not to disclose decades of gifts and luxury vacations from the rich was one of the principal sparks of the ethics controversy, as well as Alito, wrote off the court's critics as politically motivated and unappeasable, saying the only reason they care about this massive bribery scandal is because they're Democrats or whatever, which I guess, I mean, it certainly seems like most conservatives didn't have a problem with it, but I don't think that reflects poorly on the Democrats. I think it reflects poorly on the Republicans. Are we unappeasable? Well, maybe he has something there. I mean, even if they had an ethics, an actual enforcement mechanism for it, I'd still want him off the court. But I don't think that the reason you do the reforms is to placate the pundits. You have a crisis of confidence among the people. They don't believe that they can trust the Supreme Court, and they might be appeasable if you would comply with literally any ethics requirements. Now we have Gorsuch. He was especially vocal in opposing any enforcement mechanism beyond voluntary compliance, saying that it could undermine the court. I don't know why not going on mega yachts would make their job harder to do, but that's the case he's making. He says their strength was their independence. He said to defend them having financially beneficial relationships with wealthy people who routinely have cases come up before the Supreme Court. That's a nice bit of Orwellian rhetoric for you right there. And John Roberts, who has occasionally been the reasonable guy on the court, he has spent years, even before this, fighting against any sort of actual ethics requirements for the judges. And so there were some on the court who wanted more to be done. All three liberal justices said they needed to do more than give lofty promises. Elena Kagan, Ketanji Brown Jackson, they publicly pledged support for an enforcement mechanism. And I want to remind everyone, we have Supreme Courts in each of the 50 states as well. In all 50 of those Supreme Courts, there are enforcement mechanisms. It is not purely voluntary. It's not optional that you comply with this. Only at the highest level on our actual Supreme Court is there nothing like that. And I think that's something that needs to change, Sharon. But what do you make of what's been revealed?
Well, they're greedy and they want to stay greedy and not get caught and not have any kind of consequences. So at least they're saying the quiet part out loud. Gorsuch and his foolish statement on the matter is just that. I mean, the liberal justices are saying that, hey, this could help the public understand that we're not doing anything. Nothing's going on here, but they don't care, the other side, and they don't want that. And so at least they're being honest about something.
Yeah, something. Unfortunately, they don't, like going forward, they don't have to be particularly honest because nothing that's in that new ethics code will stop them from doing the exact things that they have already been revealed. And coming out of it, this is kind of worse than if we'd never known about it and there hadn't been a public outcry and there wasn't this ethics code, because at least then, Clarence Thomas, when he takes hundreds of thousands of dollars totally corruptly and then he flies off on a mega yacht, there was probably something inside of him that was thinking, maybe I'll get caught someday. Maybe there will be consequences. That's gone. He doesn't have to worry about that anymore. It's now been, pardon the phrase, I guess, but adjudicated. It was put forward before the people. and nothing was done. The Senate didn't demand anything. The Republicans felt no shame, and so we didn't get any change, and now they know no change is coming. If you were Clarence Thomas, why wouldn't you be twice as corrupt as you were before? You now know that just like Donald Trump, there will be no consequences no matter how obvious your crimes are. So that's fun. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.